Good morning, dear students. So we are moving on to our next session, that is regarding this rotational spectroscopy. Rotational spectroscopy. Rotational spectroscopy, it is otherwise called as microwave spectra, isn't it? Microwave spectroscopy. So here this rotational spectroscopy means the molecules will be absorbing energy corresponding to the radiation of 1 to 100 centimeter inverse, or it will be absorbing radiation from the microwave region, isn't it? So here for having this rotational spectroscopy, the molecule will be absorbing radiation from the microwave region. Here see in rotational spectroscopy, there is no emission of radiation, only absorption of radiation is happening, and also this absorption of radiation, it is from the microwave region. And also in our previous session we have seen that the essential requirement for a molecule to have this rotational spectrum, that is the molecule, it should be having a permanent dipole moment, isn't it? The molecule should be having a permanent dipole moment, and also for having a permanent dipole moment means the molecule, example for the molecules having permanent dipole moments are HCl, then carbon monoxide, then water molecule, etc. So these molecules will be having electronegativity difference, right? H plus and Cl minus. See, there is an electronegativity difference, and also dipole means the two opposite charges separated by a distance, isn't it? Such molecules, it will be having a permanent dipole moment, and such molecules will be showing this rotational spectroscopy. Okay, and also the range, it is between 1 to 100 centimeter inverse. So see, a very small amount of energy is required for the molecule to be rotationally active, or for molecule to be microwave active, isn't it? So the energy we had seen in our previous session, the rotational energy, it will be the least, isn't it? Rotational energy less than vibrational energy less than this electronic excitation or electronic energy. So rotational energy, it is the least one. Okay. And also we can see that this rotational energy is quantized. Rotational energy is quantized. Quantized means it will be having a discrete value, isn't it? It will be having a discrete value. Quantized means it will be having a definite value or a discrete value, and the values can be calculated with the help of Schrodinger wave equation. You have studied Schrodinger wave equation, isn't it? The values can be calculated with the help of Schrodinger wave equation. Schrodinger wave equation is dou square psi by dou x square plus dou square psi by dou y square plus dou square psi by dou z square plus 8 pi square m by h into e minus v into psi is equal to 0. That is the Schrodinger wave equation. So with the help of this Schrodinger wave equation, this rotational energy can be calculated. And also, while considering the case of this rotational energy levels, see, there are so many rotational energy levels. It will be like this. Okay, so many rotational energy levels, and each rotational energy levels, they are designated by a quantum number. See, we had seen that the rotational energy, they are quantized, isn't it? So each energy levels will be associated with a definite amount of energy. Okay, so here this is the lowest rotational energy level, and this the rotational energies are quantized. We can denote it by the quantum number J, rotational quantum number J. So this is the lowest energy level, and this lowest energy level, we can write it as the J value is equal to 0. Okay, so correspondingly the next higher rotational energy levels, this the second rotational energy level as J is equal to 1. Okay, so this is J is equal to 2, J is equal to 3, J is equal to 4, like that it will be going on. So here so many rotational energy levels are there for the molecule, and the molecule will be moving to the higher energy states according to the on the basis of the energy that absorbed. Okay, the energy by which that particular molecule or that particular atom has been absorbed. That is how the molecule will be, the excitation will be going on. Okay, and also here you have to calculate the rotational energy of a rotational energy of a rigid rotor. Okay, rotational energy of a rigid rotor. rotational energy, and it is it is denoted by EJ. Okay, EJ. Rotational energy denoted by EJ. So a small derivation is there for calculating this rotational energy, and it is very, very important also how to calculate the rotational energy of a rigid diatomic rotor. Okay, rigid diatomic rotor. It is a very, very, very important question. Okay, rigid diatomic rotor. Okay, so this is very, very, very important. You have to study the derivation thoroughly. Okay, so while coming to the derivation of this rotational energy, so first we have to calculate a we have to consider a diatomic molecule AB. Okay, since it is denoted by two different atoms. See, first atom it is A and the second atom B. That means the molecule it will be having a dipole moment. Okay, so we have to consider a diatomic molecule AB, and also this diatomic molecule it will be undergoing a rotational motion. Okay, this diatomic molecule it will be undergoing a rotational motion, and this rotational motion, see, we can draw the molecule like this. See, this is the first atom and this is the second atom. One is much bigger, A is much bigger and B is smaller. Okay, so this is a rigid diatomic molecule, and this is the center of the atom. So what will be this distance? The distance between the centers of the nuclei of the two atoms. So this will be the bond length R, right? So this is the bond length R. Okay, bond length R of that particular molecule. Okay, so this is the distance between the nuclei of the two atoms. So that will be the bond length R. So we can write the bond length of this AB molecule, let it be equal to R. Okay, then see, this is the center of gravity of this particular molecule. Center of gravity, and this center of gravity it is denoted by the letter C. Okay, so here with respect to this center of gravity the molecule is rotating. Okay, see, the molecule it will be rotating like this. The molecule will be rotating like this. Okay, so at this point this is the center of gravity C. So with respect to this point the molecule will be rotating like this. Okay, so from this rotation we can say that the moment of inertia of this particular molecule, see, normally moment of inertia it is denoted by the letter I. Okay, moment of inertia I, that is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. Moment of inertia of this particular molecule. Sorry, before that I forgot to tell you one more thing. This mass of this two atoms, that is the mass of A, let it be equal to m1. Okay, mass of A let it be equal to m1, and mass of B let it be equal to m2. And also this r1 and r2, r1 and r2 are the distances of the centers of A and B with respect to C. So the distance of A from the center of gravity C, let it be r1. So this distance let it be r1, and this distance let it be r2. Okay. Okay, so the distances from the centers, distances from the first atom A to the center of gravity C, let it be r1, and the distance of the second atom B from the center of gravity C, let it be r2. Okay, so m1 be the mass of A, and r1 let the distance from the center of gravity, and also in the case of B, mass of B let it be m2, and the distance from the center of gravity let it be r2. Okay, so from that formula, from that masses and radius, we can write that moment of inertia of this particular molecule is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square. Okay, so next, from the definition of center of gravity, the moments of A and B, then we have to calculate the moments of A and B. Okay, so the moments of A and B with respect to C must be equal. Okay, moments of A and B with respect to the center of gravity will be equal. That is, moment of A, that means it will be equal to m1 r1, and the moment of B let it be equal to m2 r2. So this will be equal. So this is, put it as equation number 1, and this is equation number 2. Okay, so moment of inertia I is equal to moment of inertia of that particular molecule AB that is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square, and the moments of A and B with respect to C will be equal from the definitions of moments of inertia. Okay, therefore we can write it as m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Put it as equation number 2. Okay. So let the first equation I is equal to m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square, and the second equation m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Okay, so this is the second equation. Then again the next step is that substitute this equation 2 in equation 1. Substitute equation 2 in equation 1. That is, we have to substitute for m1 r1. Okay, therefore we can write it as m1 is equal to, so here we can split it and write that is m1 into r1 square, that we can write it as r1 into r1 plus m2 into r2 square, we can write it as r2 into r2. Okay. Then again substitute for m1 r1. Okay, so what is m1 r1? It is equal to m2 r2. So that is equal to m2 into r2 into r1. Okay, plus here again m2 r2, substitute for m2 r2 as m1 r1. Okay, so m1 r1 into remaining will be r2. Okay, you have to substitute for m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Okay, here m2, instead of m2 r2 we have to write it as m1 r1. Okay. So again from then we have to simplify. So here the common term, it will be equal to, what is the common term? r1 into r2. Okay, so we can take it outside. So r1 into r2 into the remaining will be m1 and m2. Okay, so r1 into r2 into m1 plus m2. So therefore we got the equation as I is equal to r1 into r2 into m1 plus m2. Okay, so then again see from this diagram, it is clear that this R means it is the bond length of the diatomic molecule AB, and R is equal to R1 plus R2, isn't it? The bond length AB of the molecule, it will be equal to R1 plus R2. Okay, so from the figure we can write it as, see, while writing the derivation you have to write what all simplifications or what are calculations you are doing. If you are substituting, you have to write the substitution and also the equations, etc. Okay, so from the figure we can write it as R is equal to R1 plus R2. Then again from this equation, what is R2? So this, put it as equation number 3. Okay, so what is R2? R2 is equal to R minus R1. Okay, R2 is equal to R minus R1. Then you have to substitute this R2 value in then you have to consider the second equation. What is the second equation? Second equation is m1 r1 is equal to m2 r2. Okay, that is equation number 2. Then again you have to substitute for R2. Okay, so R2 is equal to R minus R1. So that is equal to M2 into R2 means R minus R1. Okay, that is equal to M2 R minus M2 R1. Okay, that is M1 R1 is equal to M2 R minus M2 R minus M2 R1. Then again you have to take this term to the left side. Okay, so that is equal to M1 R1 plus M2 R1. Okay, take this part to the left side of the equation. M2 R1 is equal to M2 R. So from this equation we can write it as then taking the common outside, that is M1 plus M2 into R1, that is equal to M2 R. Okay, M1 plus M2 into R1 is equal to M2R. So again R1 is equal to M2R divided by M1 plus M2. Okay, so we got R1 from the equation, that is substituting this R2, the value of R2 in equation number 2. That is equation 2 is M1 R1 is equal to M2 R2. Then you have to substitute for R2. R2 is equal to R minus R1. Then you have to simplify. So while simplifying you will be having this R1 is equal to M2R divided by M1 plus M2. Then similarly you have to substitute for R1. Okay, so what is R1 from this equation? R1 will be equal to R minus R2. Again substitute here, and then we will be having another similar equation as R2 is equal. So here we got R1. So then while comparing to this equation, we can write it as R2 is equal to M1R divided by M1 plus M2. So R2 is equal to M1R divided by M1 plus M2, and R1 is equal to M2R divided by M1 plus M2. So we got two equations. So this is equation number 4 and this is equation number 5. So we got two values for R1 and R2, isn't it? R1 is equal to M2R divided by M1 plus M2, and R2 is equal to M1R divided by M1 plus M2. Then already we got an equation for I, isn't it? So what is I? I is equal to equation 3. Equation 3 is I is equal to R1 into R2 into M1 plus M2. Okay. So write the equation 3, that is I is equal to M1 plus M2 into R1 R2. I is equal to M1 plus M2 into R1 R2. Then again we got now R1. So this is equation number 3. Then what is equation 4 and 5? 4 and 5 means R1 is equal to M2R divided by M1 plus M2. R1 is equal to M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into R. That is equation 4. Then equation 5, that is R2 is equal to M1 divided by M1 plus M2 into R. That is equation 5. Okay. Then what the next step is, you have to substitute for this R1 and R2. That is, you have to substitute equations 4 and 5 in equation 3. Okay. Substitute equations 4 and 5 in equation 3. Substitute equation 4 and 5 in equation 3. So again, we can write it as I is equal to M1 plus M2. M1 plus M2 into, what is R1? R1 is equal to M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into R. Then again into R2, isn't it? Into R2 is M1 divided by M1 plus M2 into R. Okay. I is equal to, you have to substitute in equation 3, that is M1 plus M2 into, substitute for R1, that is M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into R into, then R2 is equal to M1 divided by M1 plus M2 into R. Okay, so we can cancel this M1 plus M2, isn't it? One M1 plus M2 got cancelled, so the remaining will be equal to M1 into M2 divided by M1 plus M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into R square. Okay, so this is the equation we got. I is equal to M1 into M2 divided by M1 plus M2 into R square. That is, I is equal to mu R square. We can write it as I is equal to mu R square, where mu is equal to M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2, where mu is equal to M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2, and mu, it is called as the reduced mass of that particular system. Mu is the reduced mass of that particular system A and B, or of that particular molecule A and B. Or again, we can write this value of mu. This is the formula for calculating mu. This formula is very, very important, mu. This derivation is also very, very important. You have to do some problems using this formula. Mu is equal to M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2, or again we can write it as 1 by mu. 1 by mu is equal to 1 by mu1 plus 1 by mu2. Normally for doing problems we are using this particular formula. Mu is equal to M1 M2 divided by M1 plus M2. Okay. So here we got this moment of inertia I. So at the starting itself I told you that we have to calculate the energy of a rigid diatomic molecule, isn't it? Or a rigid diatomic rotor, isn't it? So till now we got the moment of inertia of that particular molecule. Then you have to calculate the energy of that particular diatomic molecule. So for that we have to consider the rotating molecule and let L be the angular momentum of that particular rotating molecule. Okay, let L be the angular momentum of the rotating molecule of the rotor or of the rotating molecule. And again, you know the formula for calculating L. L is equal to I omega, isn't it? L is equal to I omega. Put it as equation number. So here This is equation number 6. Okay, so this put it as equation number 7. L is equal to I omega. And what is omega? Omega, it is the angular velocity of that particular molecule. Omega is the angular velocity of the molecule. And again, you all know that the angular momentum, it is quantized. That is, the angular momentum L, it is quantized. That means it will also be having a definite value, isn't it? It will be having a constant value. And also this angular momentum, for calculating the angular momentum based on the Schrodinger wave equation, the formula is L is equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. Okay. L is equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. So this is the formula for calculating the angular momentum when it is quantized. And already we have seen what is j. J is the angular moment, j is the rotational quantum number, isn't it? And also j is the rotational quantum number. J is the rotational quantum number, and j can have values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, j can have values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. And here you have to take care of one thing. The root, it is for only j into j plus 1, not for h by 2 pi. I think in your textbook it is the h by 2 pi is also inside the root. It is not like that. Here L is equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. Okay. Then again you have to calculate the energy of the rotating molecule. Okay. So L is equal to, we got two formulas for angular momentum. L is equal to I omega and L is equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. Then again, the energy of a rotating molecule. The energy of a rotating molecule, EJ. Energy of a rotating molecule, it is designated by EJ. So EJ is equal to half I omega square. EJ is equal to half I omega square. Sometimes this formula you have studied in physics also. Okay, so the energy of a rotating molecule is equal to half I omega square. And also the energy, so here we have to do a simple substitution. EJ is equal to, again for half I omega square, I am writing it as half into I omega square. Okay, I instead of I omega square, see I am multiplying one I in the numerator and also in the denominator. Okay, that is, there will not be any change while I am multiplying. That is, multiplying and dividing by I. Okay, in this equation, multiplying and dividing by I in this equation, so that no change will be occurring to that particular equation. Okay, so in the numerator one I will be there. So again, already one I is there, so it becomes I square omega square. Okay, so in total we can write it as I omega the whole square divided by, then in the denominator also I am multiplying by I. Okay, so in the numerator and denominator we are multiplying I by I, so that no change in the equation will be there. Okay, so here we will be having half into I omega the whole square divided by I. Okay, and then again, what is I omega? We had already written the equation as L is equal to I omega, isn't it? So then we can substitute this value in this particular equation. Okay, so put it as equation number 6, 7, 8. This equation as 8. Okay, root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi as 8. And again, this equation is 9. Okay, so substituting, and this is 10. Sorry, L is equal to I omega, it is already equation number 7. Okay, so substituting equation 7 in equation 9. Okay, so therefore we can write it as EJ is equal to 1 by 2i into I omega the whole square, means it is L square, isn't it? Or we can write it as L square divided by 2i. Okay, the energy, it is equal to L square divided by 2i. Then again substitute for this value of L, that is from equation number 8, that is equation number 8, what is it? L is equal to square root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. So equation number 8 is L is equal to root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi. This is equation 8. So substituting 8 in this particular equation, this is number 10, equation number 10. So substituting 8 in equation 10. Okay. Substituting 8 in equation 10. Therefore, Ej is equal to L square. L square means this total value. Ej is equal to L square divided by 2i. So L square means this total value, the whole square. So that the root will be going. So root of, I will be writing the equation, root of j into j plus 1 into h by 2 pi the whole square divided by 2i. Okay. So this will be the equation substituting for L. Then you have to simplify. So therefore Ej is equal to, the root will be going. So j into j plus 1 into, this becomes h square divided by 4 pi square, isn't it? H square divided by 4 pi square. Again 1 2i, it is in the denominator. So it will be equal to h square divided by 8 pi square I. Okay. 2 pi, this is 4 pi square. Then again 4 pi square into 2i. 4 pi square into 2i, that becomes 8 pi square I. Okay. So Ej is equal to h square divided by 8 pi square I into j plus 1. So this is the energy of a rigid rotor in terms of joules. Okay. So we can write the equation as Ej is equal to h square divided by 8 pi square I into j plus 1, this much joules. So this is the energy for a rigid diatomic rotor, and also here j can have values 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. where j is the rotational quantum number. See, while writing the formula, you have to explain the terms involved in that particular formula. So j is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. What is h? H is the Planck's constant, 6.63 into 10 raised to minus 34 joules. Then I is the moment of inertia, and again I can be calculated by the formula I is equal to mu r square, where mu is the reduced mass. Okay. So this much you have to study. So this is the energy corresponding to a rigid diatomic rotor in terms of joules. Okay. Then you have to convert it into wave numbers. Normally in spectroscopy we are writing in terms of wave numbers or in terms of centimeter inverse. So you have to convert this energy into centimeter inverse. So for that, for converting the energy in terms of wave numbers, we can write it as, the energy can be written as epsilon. It is just like epsilon. So epsilon j, which will be equal to Ej. Ej means it is the energy of the rigid rotor in terms of joules. Okay. Ej divided by h into c. So this energy divided by hc gives the energy in, say, wave numbers. Okay. So this will be equal to, so Ej will be equal to h square divided by 8 pi square I into j plus 1, the whole divided by hc. Okay. So one h will be cancelled. So this will be equal to, what is the value? It will be equal to h divided by 8 pi square IC, isn't it? H divided by 8 pi square IC into j plus 1, this much centimeter inverse. Okay. This much centimeter inverse. So this is the energy of a rigid diatomic rotor in terms of wave number. Okay. This is in terms of wave number or centimeter inverse, and this is the energy in terms of joules. So these two formulas you have to study by heart, and also by using these two formulas you have to calculate the energy also. Okay. And also again this Ej, epsilon j is equal to h divided by, we got the formula like this, h divided by 8 pi square IC into j plus 1 centimeter inverse. Okay. Where j is equal to 0, 1, 2, etc. And again we can reduce this equation like this, that is epsilon j is equal to b into j plus 1 centimeter inverse. B into j plus 1 centimeter inverse, where B is called as the rotational constant. Where B is called as the rotational constant, and the value for B, or the formula for calculating B, that is we substitute B here, isn't it? Instead of h by 8 pi square IC, we had written B. Okay, that means B into j plus 1, there, where B is equal to where B is equal to H divided by 8 pi square IC. Okay, where B is equal to H divided by 8 pi square IC. This formula, it is also very important. A rotational constant B has to be calculated in some problem. So this formula also you have to study thoroughly. Okay, this is also very important. B is the rotational constant and the formula for calculating B is equal to H divided by 8 pi square IC. So these two formulas you have to study, that is the energy in terms of wave numbers and the energy in terms of joules. Okay, these two formulas you have to study by heart, and also this formula B is equal to H divided by 8 pi square IC. Okay, hope you are clear with the derivation. I will be telling you it once more. First of all, you have to draw the diagram for this molecule. See, rotational energy. First of all, you have to calculate the moment of inertia. M1 and M2 be the two masses, and R1 R2 be the distances from the center of gravity. And from the definitions for moment of inertia, I is equal to M1 R1 square plus M2 R2 square, and the moments of A and B with respect to C will be equal to M1 R1 is equal to M2 R2. Then you have to calculate for then you have to rewrite the equation as I is equal to, substitute this equation 2 in equation 1, then we will be having this particular formula. Then you have to find out the values for R1 and R2. Then you have to calculate this I, then I is equal to mu R square, where mu is the reduced mass. Then the next step, you have to write down the angular momentum of a rotating molecule. Angular momentum L is equal to I omega, and again since it is condensed, L is equal to square root of J into J plus 1 into H by 2 pi. Then the energy of a rotating molecule, it is given by Ej is equal to half I omega square. Then you have to multiply and divide by I. Therefore Ej is equal to half into I omega the whole square divided by I. Then substitute for I omega. That is, it becomes L square divided by 2I. Then substitute for L. L is equal to root of J into J plus 1 into H by 2 pi. Then squaring the equation, you will be, while simplifying it, we will be having the energy in joules. Then you have to convert it into centimeter inverse or to wave number. For that, you have to divide it by H into C. Okay, that is equal to, the answer will be, it will be like this. Ej is equal to, epsilon J is equal to H divided by 8 pi square IC into J plus 1 centimeter inverse. Then substitute for H by 8 pi square IC as B. Therefore, Ej is equal to B into J plus 1 centimeter inverse. Okay, so this much you must study thoroughly this derivation. It is very, very, very important. It's an usually asked question. In spectroscopy, it is very important, and also you have to study the derivation thoroughly. Okay, hope you understand the topic. If any doubt, you please call me or message me. Okay, so the next portion I will be taking in your next session. Thank you for listening. Bye.